Hello YouTubers, I thought I'd do a very quick video for you today. I'm very excited about this because I've been gluten free for about a year, and also I'm dairy free because I'm dairy intolerant. And just before Christmas I did a York test intolerance test, and it turns out I was intolerant to yeast as well. So I got really excited and I thought maybe it's not the gluten, maybe it's the yeast. So I went back to eating like flatbreads and stuff like that that had gluten but didn't have any yeast, and I spent 2 days being extremely ill. So I worked out it is still the gluten, it might be the yeast as well. But so one thing I really miss on my diet was having some kind of bread. So uh, I used to make a gluten-free bread with yeast, and I've tried making flatbreads. I've looked all over the internet and found millions of recipes, and none of them work. So I've come up with my own recipe for it, and I'll quickly show you what it looks like. I've already made a batch today, and I've just tested it to make sure it works. So the ingredients are very simple. So it's 200 grams. So to make 4 small ones, 200 grams of Dove's gluten-free white bread flour mix, which looks like this. Gluten-free white bread flour, free from gluten. You can also use the wholemeal gluten-free flour. So 200 grams of the flour, 100 grams of water. Now weigh the water out, very important. 1 teaspoon of sea salt. I use the Malden or Cornish sea salt. You could use table salt as well. Sprinkling of cracked black pepper. I put in some dried mixed herbs, and also some fresh parsley and some cumin seeds that I had lying around I wanted to use up. They go great in the bread, give it a bit of flavour, especially the cumin. The dried mixed herbs are really good. If you don't have the parsley, don't worry about it, but you know, dried mixed herbs are like 20p for a pot, so it's always good to have a bit more flavour. So 200 grams of flour, 200 grams of water, a pinch of salt, pinch of pepper, whatever herbs and spices you want to put in them, and that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, olive oil. I put extra virgin olive oil. You could use any sort of neutral oil. I like olive oil, so I use olive oil. I'm sure you could use coconut oil as well. And I put in 2 tablespoons per 200 grams. And then basically, if you want to you make a bigger batch, you just multiply it. So today I've made 600 grams, and to that I've put in 300 grams of water, 6 tablespoons of oil, 3 sort of pinches of tablespoons of salt and pepper, and all my herbs and spices. Now, if it's really, you want a really stiff dough, this is a really important bit. If your dough is too wet, this will not work, because the trouble with most of the doughs is that they fall apart when you cook them, or they end up like rocks and you can't bend them. This is the biggest thing. So I'm going to quickly show you what I've made. So here's a whole box of them. I've just made an entire box. There's like 15 there, 12, 15, something like that. I've cooked 3 off already to show you. So this is what they look like. Obviously the speckles and the pepper and the herbs and spices. You can see they are bendy. Yeah, so they're still pliable, but the dough is quite stiff. It's pliable because it's been out of the fridge. I've literally just pressed those. Now I use a tortilla press to make these. It's very easy. You put a square of parchment there, you put about 1.5 tablespoons of your mixture in there, another piece of parchment on top, close it, press the handle, and then you have one that comes out. If you can put more on them, you know, if you want to put 2 or 3 tablespoons, you end up with much bigger wraps. I mainly have mine for breakfast, so that's why I do that size, and there I have breakfast for the next week and a half. To cook them, I use a very heavy bottomed non-stick pan. So this is a Tefal one, nice thick bottom, nice, very nice. In fact, this is pretty much brand new, this one. You don't use any oil to cook in, you just heat your pan up for a couple of minutes on a medium heat. Leave it on a medium heat. Cook it like, here's one I've cooked already. In there, dry pan, like that, about a minute. Turn it over, about 2 minutes, and then about another minute on the other side. And when it's cooked, it'll puff up like about that thick. It'll be really, really thick. And that's all there is to it. It'll take about 4 minutes to cook. So here are some I've cooked already. A bit more colour on that one, a bit less colour on this one, doesn't really matter. The point is they stay together and they fold just like wraps. You know, there's no brittleness. You can fold it, bend it, flop it around, you know. It works exactly like a normal tortilla, which is exactly what I wanted to achieve. So now I can have gluten-free, dairy-free and yeast-free tortilla wraps, and I can still get my bread fix and not worry about making myself ill in the future. So give the recipe a go. I'll quickly just put the ingredients in the bottom. I know I've said them a few times, but just in case, and experiment with them. Once you've got the consistency of the dough, wants to be a nice thick dough, not too wet. If it's too wet, add more flour. If it's too dry, don't add more water, add more oil, because the oil is what makes them stick together really well. If you add more water, you're going to end up with really wet dough, and then you're not going to be able to cook it. So what I do, I should quickly explain this. When you go to cook them, so your pan's already hot, you quickly, I'll get this one out, what you do, you peel off your top parchment, so they've all got 2 pieces of parchment on. You put this face down in your hot pan, and then you peel off that paper. Don't worry, you're not going to burn yourself. The pan's not, you know, so extremely hot that you're going to injure yourself. Try and get that out of there again. See, the dough's firm enough I can actually lift it up and it's still raw, which is brilliant. So that's all there is to it. I hope you enjoy my recipe. I am a chef actually, so it's nice that I finally got to use my knowledge for some, you know, for the betterment of mankind, rather than just slaving away in a hot kitchen for people who don't appreciate what you do. It's always nice to do something for people who do appreciate what you do, and in this case, you know, it's nice to make something that can help other people as well. So maybe I'll do some more recipes in the future. I'm not sure yet, but certainly enjoy this one. Thank you very much. Bye.